Incredible dishwasher exposes millionaire chefs with a touching, life-changing secret revealed. In the heart of Chicago, amidst the vibrant din of clattering plates and sizzling pans, there lies a bustling restaurant where the air is thick with anticipation and flickers of hope. Here, one man, the invisible dishwasher, works tirelessly in a kitchen ruled by culinary giants. Meet Marcus, 24, a dreamer in a world that overlooks him, scrubbing away the grime of others' success. He spends his days hunched over sinks, surrounded by greasy pans, yet his mind soars through flavors and culinary imagination. Every chef flaunts their prestigious titles, while Marcus rinses their remnants, feeling like a ghost in a world lit by fame. He notices the sobering reality of the kitchen, the contrasting lives of the high-flying chefs and the immigrant workers, whose struggles are muffled beneath the shouting orders and sizzling grills. It's within this chaotic realm that fate takes a twist. One fateful day, as the hum of laughter and excitement swirls around him, Marcus uncovers a weathered recipe book tucked away beneath layers of faded takeout containers. The pages are fragile, each filled with secrets from a culinary legend who vanished from the limelight. This book holds something extraordinary. As Marcus flips through the pages, his heart races. He discovers a revolutionary technique that could transform any dish of philosophy around food, telling stories through flavors. His dreams of creating a culinary legacy spark into a flame. In secret, he begins to experiment. Each dish he concocts comes alive with vibrancy and hope, and soon, his mother and a close-knit community become his eager taste testers. Their eyes light up at his feasts, igniting a fire within him that he never knew existed. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But the day arrives for Marcus to reveal his hard work to the sharks of the culinary world, the millionaire chefs who previously dismissed him as nothing more than background noise. As tension thickens in the air like smoke from a charred dish, his heart pounds against his chest. He sets his plate in front of the elitists, their laughter a haunting echo. Instead of the applause he envisioned, he is met with scorn and ridicule, their disdain as sharp as a knife's edge, slicing through his aspirations. Just as despair seeps in, fate intervenes again. A popular food blogger scrolling through his phone captures Marcus's struggle and triumphs, sharing it with the world. The response is meteoric. Suddenly, voices rise in support of a dishwasher who dared to dream. Conversations about the meritocracy of the kitchen flood social media, igniting a nationwide debate on the barriers faced by many in the culinary world. As murmurs ripple through the restaurant, Marcus finds himself at the center of a storm. The energy shifts, the chefs who once laughed now glare with fear. Can one dishwasher truly challenge the shadows of elitism? Will the momentum behind this movement endure, or will the cruel system crush his spirit before he can ignite change? With the future of kitchens hanging in the balance, Marcus stands on the edge of revolution. The question lingers like the scent of seared meat. Will his story echo through the very halls that once silenced him, or will whispers of doubt drown him out before the first course even serves? The dazzling lights of the restaurant pulsed like a heartbeat, but for Marcus, everything felt like a blur. The aura of the culinary elite simmered with tension, a stark contrast to the thrill that had filled his heart moments ago. He stood to the side, clutching his apron, an anchor in the rising tide of anxiety. All eyes were on the million-dollar chefs, and as Marcus glanced at them, he saw both arrogance and worry etched on their faces. What does this nobody think he is doing? A voice cut through the commotion, drenching his spirit in ice. A thick-set chef named Antonio leaned closer to his co-workers, their laughter mingling with invisible daggers aimed at Marcus's back. But the laughter quickly faded as the food blogger who had ignited this fiery backlash began to record again. The restaurant's atmosphere crackled with a mix of anticipation and dread. Marcus felt the sensation of 1,000 stares drilling into him, slicing through the confidence he had bravely built over weeks of secret cooking. His dreams of appending the upper crust of the culinary world battled against the formidable weight of criticism. He noticed the faint shake of his hands, the way his heart thundered, and for a fleeting second, he thought about retreating. Yet, among the complex emotions, a flicker of determination ignited a whisper he dared to listen to. In the bustling chaos of the kitchen behind him, his friends and family had always cheered for him, a small yet fierce band of supporters. They believed in him when he was merely a ghostly figure, and their faces flashed through his mind like a flickering film reel. The memories warmed him, a kind smile from his mother, a nod of approval from his childhood friend. The fear gripped him tighter, but resolve pushed back. In that moment, Marcus inhaled deeply, filling his lungs with the scent of possibility. He moved forward, each step deliberate, feeling the heavy stone of doubt shift beneath him. He approached the table where the chefs lounged, their bravado slowly wavering. Antonio still smirked, lips curling slightly as he held Marcus's gaze. "Ready to impress us again, Dishwasher?" The condescension rolled off his tongue like a bitter sauce. Marcus squared his shoulders, every muscle taut with purpose. "I'm ready to show you what real cooking is." With a flick of his wrist, he unveiled a platter he'd spent sleepless nights developing. Vibrant colors danced, scents swirled, and imagination poured from every edge. The $1 million chefs leaned in, their laughter replaced by intrigued silence. It was not merely a dish, it was an invitation to witness the future. Through flavors, debts, and dreams weaved together an essence of every struggle he'd ever faced. "Your loss if you refuse to recognize it," he added, surprising even himself with the confidence lacing his words. Outrage flickered among the chefs, the air crackled with uncertainty. Would they dismiss his creation again, or was this the tipping point, the moment when they might have to consider that change could come from the back of the house? A few moments felt surreal, stretched thin like 1,000 layers of pastry. Marcus's heart raced, each breath significant. The world held still as the chefs exchanged glances. What were they thinking? Suddenly, a raucous cheer erupted from the back. His friends spotted their beloved hero standing tall against the odds. Instinctively, Marcus glanced towards them. Their faces sparkled with pride and excitement, but then he caught something in the ocean of their cheers, a shadow growing, an unease that cloaked the room once more. As the chefs huddled close, murmurs began directly in front of him. He couldn't make out the words, but the glances shot his way hinted at a brewing storm, one that could send him spiraling backward or launch him into an entirely new realm. Before a chef spoke, the doors of the restaurant burst open. A figure, drenched from the rain, rushed in, sending panic scattering like forgotten plates. The chatter ceased. All eyes shifted, confusion rippling through the crowd. "Is it true?" The newcomer gasped, breathless, their eyes darting around the room until they locked onto Marcus. "You're the dishwasher stirring the pot?" The world spun again as Marcus's heart sank. Who was this person, and what did they know? A mix of curiosity and dread swept through him as the weight of revelation loomed over the gathering. Was this the climactic shift in his tale, or another nail in the flickering coffin of his dreams? Marcus's breath caught in his throat. The weight of those words settled over him like a heavy cloak, smothering the air. The room was thick with uncertainty, each eye glued to the drenched figure who stood at the entrance like a ghost summoned from the past. "Who are you?" Marcus's voice cracked. He fought to maintain composure, even as dread clawed at his insides. The figure took a step closer, shaking off water like a drenched dog, revealing a familiar face, one he hadn't seen in years. "Emily," she said quietly, her voice trembling. "It's me." Murmurs spread through the crowd like wildfire, igniting whispers of scandal and intrigue. Emily, the girl who had once been his closest friend, the one who shared his dreams and fears. The heartbreak of their separation surged within him, an unwanted reminder of a time when hope seemed boundless. "Why are you here?" he asked, forced to push the memories aside. "What do you know?" Emily's eyes widened as she searched his face for something: support, understanding, maybe even forgiveness. "I have something to tell you. Something important about your future, and the chefs." The $1 million chefs, once so steadfast in their scorn, now looked uneasy, their bravado eroding under the potency of her presence. Antonio shifted uncomfortably, glancing at his peers as if gauging their reaction. Go on, Marcus urged, his heart pounding louder than ever. He could feel the tension thickening, wrapping around them all like a vice, ready to snap. Remember when we used to talk about changing the world through food? You thought you could do it, Marcus. You always said you could create something fresh, something bold, she said earnestly. I found something that could help. As she spoke, Marcus's mind raced. It felt surreal, like he was caught in a bizarre dream where the past collided with the present. What do you mean? Emily pulled out a small, crumpled piece of paper from her damp jacket. This might be the secret recipe that can change everything, that can take you to the top. But it's not just food, it's more than that. With a shaking hand, she reached out and spread the paper on the nearest table. Doodles and notes filled the creases, chaotic yet inspiring. How did you get this? Marcus whispered, his mind racing. I came across it while researching your favorite dish. It belonged to a legendary chef who... A wave of laughter erupted from Antonio, cutting her off. And you think this dish will impress anyone? Please. The anger surged in Marcus. This moment felt crucial. Everyone was watching, waiting. It was time to fight back. What do you know about passion, Antonio? You sit there lording over the kitchen like a king, while I'm out here looking for something real. Before Antonio could respond, Emily reached for Marcus's arm. This recipe isn't just any recipe, it holds the legacy of flavors that could change perceptions. Trust me. Trust your instincts. He locked eyes with her, hope battling doubt in the heaviness of his chest. The moment was agonizing. Could he really risk everything on an old friend's promise? The room vibrated with expectancy, both anxious and electrifying, but beneath the tension, a deeper fear stirred. What if revealing the recipe attracted more backlash? What if he lost everything he had fought for? Silence enveloped the restaurant as all eyes squinted at Marcus, their expectations palpable. He could either step forward into the light or fade back into the shadows that had almost consumed him. Just as he felt the walls closing in, a hard gasp pierced the air. Marcus, look out! He whipped around, heart racing. The words had barely registered when a large figure was lunging towards him, a chef from behind, poised for a physical confrontation. The tension in the room erupted into chaos, flinging Marcus into a whirlwind of unforeseen confrontation. Would this be the end, or just the beginning of everything he had ever dreamed? With uncertainty around him and Emily's fervent gaze urging him onward, Marcus braced for the collision of ambition and fear. But what would emerge from the storm? The chaos ignited instantly. Chairs toppled over as people scrambled, spilling drinks and shouting nonsense. The sudden clash of bodies sent adrenaline coursing through Marcus. He felt vulnerable, pulled into an unexpected drama that threatened to swallow him whole. The chef barreled toward him, fists clenched and face twisted with rage. Antonio's laughter froze into horror. What are you doing? He barked, his bravado shattered. The other chefs stood by, unsure whether to intervene or back away. Get out of the way! Emily shrieked, pulling Marcus aside just in time. He felt the rush of air as the large figure sailed past him, crashing into the table that had housed the recipe. Dishes shattered, stones of china skittering across the floor like tossed stones of an old rivalry. Marcus spun to face the chaos. He saw the chef regain balance, eyes wild with fury. You think you can take my place? You, a nobody? His voice was a thunderous growl, laced with jealousy and disdain. Emily stood firm, her hands clenched at her sides. This isn't about you, it's bigger than all of us. Bigger? The chef sneered, wiping remnants of broken glass off his suit. You think a recipe can change anything? We're chefs, not magicians. Maybe you just don't have enough vision, Marcus countered, feeling strength surge in him. He stepped forward, defiance igniting as he glared down the chef. You think your title makes you great? It's heart that's missing, not skill. Cheers erupted from several surprised spectators, their fear melting into excitement as they watched the confrontation unfold. Antonio's face crumpled with disappointment, He hadn't counted on Marcus unearthing the truth. Suddenly, the door swung wide open, a gust of wind sending patrons' napkins flaring. A woman in a crisp blazer strode in, confidence radiating from every pore. She swept her gaze across the chaos, eyebrows raising in disbelief. What on earth is going on here? The room quieted momentarily as tension crackled, all attention shifted to her. Marcus recognized her, food critic who could make or break reputations with a mere review. This isn't a good time," bellowed the enraged chef, tapping into what little authority he had left. "Isn't it?" She shot back, hands on her hips. Her gaze fell on Marcus and Emily, two figures oddly unified amidst the disarray. "I'm always up for a good story. Especially when it involves passion versus prestige." The chef sputtered as the crowd grew restless, leaning in, eager for a spectacle. Adrenaline surged through Marcus once more. This was his moment. "Listen," he said, turning back to Emily. "This is about more than just one recipe. This is about what food means to us, how it can bring us together. It can inspire instead of divide." As the words left his mouth, he felt it a shift. The crowd's energy danced with him, an invisible thread weaving hope into the rancor. "If we let go of ego, we can create a revolution in this kitchen, in this community." Emily stared at him, wide-eyed, as if he had drawn back the curtain to expose a bright light. But the chef, seething with anger, charged again, determination fueling his moves. "You're going to regret this. Not if I take a step back and let you collapse under the weight of your arrogance," Marcus shouted, words blistering with resolve. With every breath, he prepared for whatever the next seconds held, but within that expectation, there was a spark. A chance to redefine everything. If they could harness the chaos, maybe they could reshape this moment into something monumental. And then, just as the tension peaked, the unexpected happened. An explosion of laughter erupted from the back of the room, unexpected, chaotic, and entirely disruptive to the atmosphere. Alone, provincial yet primal, it shattered the tension like glass shattering underfoot. "Is this a food fight or a cooking contest?" An older man bellowed, grinning like a fool, as everyone turned to see chaos begot camaraderie. Caught off guard, Marcus briefly exchanged glances with Emily, their spirits lifting in a shared laugh that broke through the madness. But amidst the relief, a new question lingered: what truly lay hidden in the shadows of the culinary world, and would Marcus uncover the secrets behind food's great revolution before it unraveled completely? Marcus blinked, the laughter echoing in his ears. He felt a peculiar mix of relief and confusion wash over him. This moment was almost surreal. The older man's laughter spread through the crowd like a contagious virus, igniting nervous chuckles and eventually full-blown laughter. Just like that, tension faded, the wild-eyed chef stammering, flustered and defeated. But then, the laughter morphed into chatter, creeping back to the forefront of their conflict. Strained conversations filled the room. Marcus sensed the excitement brewing, yet he also felt the undercurrent of anxiety. What was going to happen next? Would the chef retaliate or back down? The critic looked on, fascinated, her eyes shifting back and forth between Marcus, Emily, and the chef. "Well, isn't this entertaining?" she quipped, a sly smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Entertaining? It's a circus," the chef grumbled, his countenance still brutish. He squared his shoulders, refusing to succumb to the insanity erupting around him. The crowd's chatter turned into a wave of whispers, buzzing with potential alliances. "Listen, bring me that recipe, and we'll show him what real cooking is," shouted one of the sous chefs, enthusiasm lighting his face. The idea struck a match in Marcus's mind. "Yes. Let us take back the power," he exclaimed, heart pounding at the thought of creating something explosive. "We can compete. This is our chance to redefine what cooking means." Emily jumped in, her eyes ablaze. "A cooking challenge? We can prove that it's not the recognition but the heart behind the food that matters." Cheers erupted again, filling the air with renewed energy. Even the chef looked skeptical, but Marcus could tell he was losing his hold. The crowd had turned. The critic leaped into the conversation, her keen instincts kicking in. Surprise us, show me what you've got. This could be the highlight of my review. One recipe versus another, it's a culinary showdown. Her grin was wicked, delighting in the chaos. But before excitement could spiral out of control, the chef interrupted. You think I'm backing down? You're mistaken if you think this is a game, he snarled, his voice thick with animosity. I will own this competition. Marcus dared to challenge him further. Then let us decide when and where. Do you have the heart to face us? With a huff, the chef straightened, revealing a man still clinging to his failing authority. Tomorrow night, at the usual time. We'll see just how much your heart holds up against skill. A somber collective breath filled the air. This wasn't just about food. This was about pride, community, and who could weather the storm. How do we choose among us? Someone shouted from the crowd, uncertainty sweeping through them. Tension was building again, each heartbeat echoing louder than the last, eyes darted around, calculating the risk. I'll do it, Marcus declared, surprisingly steady, his pulse racing. I'll lead us in this fight. I can face him. A ripple of doubt crossed Emily's face. You can't just walk into a challenge unprepared. This is serious. Exactly, and that's why we need all hands on deck, Marcus pressed on, determined. We have to collaborate, share our ideas. We'll pour everything into it. This is our moment. The crowd laughed again, but it was rooted in hope. Something clicked in Marcus's heart, a reawakening of passion that he thought had been faded by the mundane. As they began to plan amidst the chaos, a sharp voice cut through the buzz. What about the recipe? The elderly man's mirth faded to serious concern, urging everyone to focus. Right, Emily said, a grimace crossing her face. Where is the original recipe? It's the key to winning. Oh no, if it's in the hands of Marcus started, voice rising, but cut short as they all turned toward the chef, who stood smugly, a devilish grin twisting his features. The critical moment hung in the air as everyone's expressions shifted from excitement to anxiety. Now, how will you face me without your precious recipe? He taunted, tossing the challenge forward like a gauntlet. With every eye trained on him, Marcus knew one truth: the stakes were higher than ever. This wasn't just about pride in the kitchen anymore, it had turned personal. What secrets would they unveil, and could they truly stand their ground against a master in a show of culinary integrity? The clock ticked ominously, tightening its grip. Marcus felt sweat trickle down his back as he stared at the chef, the room heavy with palpable tension. The chef's smug grin seemed to stretch ever wider, as if relishing every second of Marcus's growing anxiety. Was it really just a recipe they were fighting for, or was it their very identity on the line? Think about it, the chef crooned, leaning slightly closer. Do you even know what it takes to beat me? You'll need more than just heart. You'll need skill, artistry, and a recipe that isn't just child's play. He chuckled darkly. Emily stepped forward, grounding Marcus with her presence. We can do this. We just have to get that recipe back. It's not lost. We can figure out a way. But even her voice trembled slightly, betraying the weight of uncertainty. Maybe you can charm the recipe out of whoever has it, the chef shot back, amusement dancing in his eyes. But who knows if they'll even give it to you? Around them, the crowd murmured, apprehension rippling through like an electric current. Marcus could feel their eyes, each weighing the odds. The criticisms against him, the whispers of doubt: was it too difficult, too daunting? Every second dragged, choking the hope he had ignited just moments before. No. We can't let fear take over, he declared suddenly, his voice filling the void. We're not just fighting for a recipe. We're fighting for our passion. Our love for food. That chef thinks he is unbeatable because of a scrap of paper. It might be time to remind him that what matters most isn't written down. It's what we feel when we create. The crowd swelled with murmurs of agreement, fueled by Marcus's fervor. They could sense it, too, the fight burning inside them, ready to be unleashed, but a gnawing worry twisted Marcus's gut. The recipe, the original recipe, he thought grimly. They needed a plan, but the clock was ticking. What if we sent someone in to find it? Like a spy? Suggested a sous chef, excitement glimmering in his eyes. The idea was ludicrous yet intensely compelling. Or we could just ask the chef directly, Emily suggested half-heartedly, a hint of sarcasm in her tone. Can't hurt to ask, right? Marcus grinned despite the gravity of the situation. Actually, we need to think smarter. We can't just dive in. There could be traps, hidden barriers. This is his turf. We need information. The murmurs grew once more, with each person jockeying for a role in their plan. Confidence surged among them, intertwining hope and desperation. They were forging a tight circle of allies, their collective determination swelling like yeast in dough. Suddenly, behind the chef, a figure detached from the shadows, hopping over tables like an acrobat. It was the dishwasher, the unassuming individual often overlooked in this culinary circus. Their presence was unexpected but electrified Marcus. The dishwasher's eyes were wide, they had something urgent to say. Marcus! They cried out, and the room fell silent as everyone turned, curiosity piqued by this unexpected arrival. I heard something about the recipe. It's not where you think. Shock washed over Marcus, his stomach tightening. What do you mean? He asked, stepping toward the dishwasher, who glanced anxiously at the chef. The chef he's hiding it for a reason, the dishwasher continued, their voice barely above a whisper. But if you're going to take him on, you need to know the secret that goes beyond the recipe. It's all connected to what he fears most. Eyes widened, breaths caught. What could this mean? What fear lay beneath the chef's arrogance? The chef turned sharply, his smile now sinister. Enough of this. What do you think you can achieve by probing around my business? You do well to back off. I won tea, Marcus shot back, fueled by the sudden surge of insight. We're all in this together. You think you can intimidate me with your bravado, but you don't know what we really have or what you might lose. A crackle of tension buzzed through the air, and the atmosphere shifted like a low tide pulling out to sea. The dishwasher took a step closer, despite the palpable danger. You need to go tonight before he puts his plan into action. I can lead you. Was this the breakthrough they needed? Or was it another snare to trap them deeper in the chef's web of deceit? Marcus's heart raced as he weighed the decision in front of him. As the clock ticked loudly in the background, they were just moments away from an explosive revelation or devastating failure. Would they seize the opportunity, or had they already lost the battle before it began? The air thickened with unspoken questions, and Marcus could feel the weight of every choice pressing down. What was the secret that could turn the tide? And would they be ready to confront the storm brewing in the chef's heart? Marcus took a sharp breath, his mind racing. This was their chance, possibly their last hope. He locked eyes with the dishwasher, whose fear was palpable but whose determination shone through. Lead the way, he said firmly, urgency thrumming in his voice. The crowd murmured a mix of excitement and anxiety as the dishwasher nodded quickly, glancing fearfully at the chef, who was now visibly irritated, fists clenching at his sides. Follow me, came the hurried whisper, and with that, they slipped through the crowd, heading toward the back of the kitchen where shadows loomed large. Each step felt heavy, the tension winding tighter, threatening to snap at any moment. They moved swiftly, but Marcus's mind raced with questions. What could the chef be hiding? And why was there so much fear around this secret? It could be the key to defeating him, or it could lead them down a dark path, one that trapped them deeper in the chef's grip. As they reached a secluded corner, the dishwasher stopped abruptly, scanning the dimly lit area for any lurking threats. Okay, this is where I heard it. They hesitated, gulping down the words like a bitter pill. The chef, he has been after something powerful, something more than just a recipe. He has got connections, dirty connections. That's what he fears more than anything. Marcus felt a chill wrap around him. Connections, he murmured, glancing at Emily and the others who followed closely behind, their faces etched with concern. Yes. He partnered with someone influential. The original recipe isn't just hidden, it's part of a broader scheme. He's using it to climb even higher in this culinary world. If you could expose him, you could bring him down. The dishwasher's voice trembled, each word infused with urgency. But how? We don't even know who this partner is. Emily interjected, anxiety flickering across her features. His office, there are documents there. Information, the dishwasher replied, their eyes darting back to the kitchen, ensuring they weren't overheard. If we can get in and find evidence of his dealings, Marcus's heart thundered at the possibilities. This was more than just a culinary competition now, it was about integrity, truth, and justice. Yet, the chef's presence loomed like a storm cloud, threatening to tear apart whatever hope they had. As if sensing their plotting, the distance suddenly felt fraught with tension. The chef's laughter echoed from the main floor, mocking, cutting through the air. You think you stand a chance? He hollered, letting the words hang heavy. You're all entering dangerous waters. The dishwasher flinched, and Marcus felt anger wash over him, a hot tide against the cold fear gripping his insides. No, listen, he said, urgency mounting. We don't have time. If he finds out we're onto him, we have to act quickly. Tonight is our only shot to unearth his secrets. Before anyone could respond, a sudden clamor surged from the main kitchen. The sound of scraping utensils and raised voices filled the air. Marcus exchanged glances with his teammates, uncertainty hung thick among them. What's happening? Emily asked, her eyes wide. Something's gone wrong. The dishwasher looked tense, fists tight at their sides. We should move now, while we still can. But Marcus hesitated, a lump forming in his throat. Was this too reckless? Diving in without a clear plan could lead them straight into the chef's trap, yet, standing there, he felt an ember spark within him. He couldn't stand idle. We've come this far, he said, determination stealing in his voice. We're fighting for more than just ourselves. We're fighting for our dreams. He turned to the group, heart thumping in rhythm with a newfound resolve. We go back to the kitchen. Together. We get the evidence, and we expose him. Tonight. There was a moment, a heartbeat in which shock held them in place, followed by the collective realization of what could come next. As they steeled themselves, preparing to dash back toward that unseen danger, Marcus's throat tightened. What risks lay ahead? And what was the chef truly capable of when cornered? With adrenaline coursing through their veins, they plunged forward, the weight of the chef's looming shadow pressing ever closer behind them, each step echoing with suspense. Would they uncover the truth or find themselves ensnared in his web before they discovered the real secret waiting in the shadows? As they charged toward the heart of the kitchen, the chaos grew louder. Marcus felt every nerve ending come alive, sending bolts of electric fear through his body. The harsh clang of metal against metal echoed like an alarm, forcing them to push through the crowded space, hearts racing with each step. Go, go, he urged, adrenaline propelling him forward. The others followed closely, instinctively forming a protective circle around their driver of hope, the dishwasher. Just as they rounded a corner, a gust of hot air hit them, along with the unmistakable aroma of burnt garlic. The chef's domain was chaotic, pots clanging, flames flickering dangerously close to spouting over. Shadows dashed back and forth, frantic figures caught in the chef's storm. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. We need to find his office, he said, scanning the area. It must be nearby. Stay close. The dishwasher led the way, navigating skillfully through the labyrinth of counters and cook stations. The tension was palpable, the chef's voice roared above the clamor, demanding order, berating someone for a botched dish. It was clear he was on edge, and from the way his voice cracked with fury, Marcus understood. They were running out of time. Suddenly, Emily gasped, pointing to a small door partially obscured behind a pile of crates. There! She shouted. That has to be it. Without a moment's hesitation, they rushed toward the door. Slammed shut, it felt like the threshold between them and whatever secrets the chef had buried deep within his twisted ambition. Marcus tightened his fists, steeling himself against the tug of doubt. Okay, here goes, the dishwasher said, swallowing hard. Shoulders trembling, they reached for the door handle, heart pounding. Marcus caught a glimpse of fear in their eyes, the weight of their quest threatening to crush them. Together, Marcus reminded everyone, determination lace in his voice. "We'll do this together." With a deep breath, the dishwasher turned the handle. The door creaked open, revealing a darkened office lit only by the faint glow of a computer screen. Papers lay scattered across the desk, half-open drawers held secrets just waiting to be uncovered. As they stepped inside, the air felt electric, crackling with the promise of revelation and the threat of discovery. Marcus closed the door quietly, tension coiling tight as he glanced around. He could feel the stakes rising, heavy as lead. The dishwasher hunched over the desk. "Look. The files." They pointed, eyes wide with urgency. "We need to find something that links him to the sudden crash of metal clanging against the floor made them all jump." The chef's laughter rang out, this time darker, colder. "I thought I heard some rats scurrying about." His voice cut through the office like a knife. "Why don't you come out and play?" Fear gripped Marcus like a vice. "We have to hurry," he whispered urgently. Papers were rifled through frantically. Time slipped through their fingers like sand. They needed proof, something solid to expose the chef's ulterior motives. Emily's hand shook as they sorted through files, sweeping aside menus and invoices, searching for a hint of something more impure. And then Marcus spotted a document, curling at the edges, marked with a familiar logo. "Here. This might be it," he exclaimed, barely able to hold back a surge of hope. Just then, a shadow loomed at the door. They froze, hearts pounding, eyes wide with terror, realizing the chef was close, dangerously close. "Are you hiding from me?" he growled, the door rattling as he tried to push it open. Panic set in. Marcus felt as if the walls were closing in, his breath quickening. Would they find a way to expose the chef's scheme, or would they be caught before the truth could surface? "Hide!" the dishwasher hissed, pulling Marcus and Emily to the far corner of the room, just as the door burst open, revealing the chef's furious face. "Now, let us find out what you're really up to." His eyes flared, and in that moment, the stakes became infinitely clearer. The unmasking of secrets had begun. Would they still have their chance to fight back? The chef stepped inside the office, confidence radiating from him as he scanned the space, and Marcus could almost taste the danger in the air. Would they discover the truth hidden in that room, or had they walked straight into the jaws of destruction? Marcus's breath hitched as the chef's figure filled the doorway, blocking out the flickering light from the kitchen beyond. The air grew thick, almost suffocating, as dread pooled in the pit of his stomach. The chef's narrowed eyes swept across the room, seeking, hunting. "Who said you could snoop around my office?" he barked, his voice spinning with menace. Shadows from the desk cast grim shapes on the walls, reflecting the dark energy radiating from the chef. "Stay low," Emily whispered, her voice shaky as they huddled in the corner. Heart racing, Marcus clutched the file tight against his chest. It felt like a lifeline, but also a ticking bomb. Would it trigger something far worse if it fell into the wrong hands? "Why don't you come out?" The chef chuckled, but it was cold, devoid of warmth. He stepped further into the room, and Marcus felt every instinct scream for him to bolt. But they needed proof, and this paper, this could be it. With trepidation threading through his limbs, he wrestled with the decision, to reveal their location and risk it all, or to stay hidden, playing a game of nerves with a predator. "Look at this, boss. The rats in the kitchen are really getting bold." The chef's voice was sing-song, mocking. He knew they were here, it was only a matter of time before he found them. Just when the tension peaked, the dishwasher's hand brushed against Marcus's arm. A silent signal flickered between them, they had to act. With a steely resolve, the dishwasher gestured toward the files, urging him to stay vigilant. "Your little games might be fun for you," the chef continued, relishing the power he wielded. "But trust me, this is going to end badly for you." A thumping echoed from the kitchen, a cacophony of chaos that momentarily distracted the chef. It was the perfect chance. Marcus barely registered the surge of adrenaline that shot through him. "Now," he mouthed to Emily and the dishwasher. With a shared burst of energy, they edged silently toward the desk, shields painted around them by the threat looming just a few steps away. Fingers brushed over the stacks of papers, seeking the one thread that could unravel the fabric of the chef's empire. Damn rats. Where are you? The chef's back was turned, but the tension coiled tighter, suffocating the air. Marcus sorted through the scattered documents, breath hitching at every creak of the floorboards beneath their feet. Time twisted like a knife in his gut. There's gotta be something here, he hissed, anxiety thickening around them. However, with each second passing, they edged closer to exposure. The door creaked, reminding them of the reality that lurked just outside their sanctuary. Then, a faint glimmer caught Marcus's eye. Wait, here. He gasped, gesturing toward a hidden folder taped beneath the desk. He pried it loose, opening it with trembling fingers, revealing pages filled with records and handwritten notes the chef's dealings, his under-the-table arrangements. But before he could absorb the impact of those words, the chef whipped around, sensing the change in the room. What do you think you're doing? He roared, fury lighting up his features. No. Emily cried, and they froze as if the world had turned to stone. The chef lunged forward like a striking serpent, eyes wild with rage and purpose. Time slowed, and every heartbeat echoed like a drum in Marcus's ears. They were caught. Run! The dishwasher screamed as the file flew from Marcus's hands, scattering papers across the floor like some final plea for escape, and just like that, the door swung shut behind them, the heat of the kitchen spilling over as the chef's furious footsteps echoed closer. Go! Marcus shouted, pushing Emily forward as they surged towards safety. The stakes had risen, a brutal truth beginning to unfold. They needed to get the file back, but the chef was hot on their heels, and the kitchen was a churning sea of hungry flames. Would they escape this whirlwind intact, or would the chef snare them, erasing their chance to expose his corruption forever? As they burst into the chaotic kitchen, Marcus glanced over his shoulder, searching for a way to turn the tide. But in that chaotic moment, fate had other plans. And in the distance, a fire alarm blared, its shrill cry reshaping their reality, just as the chef's laughter echoed in their minds. The fire alarm blared, drowning out the chaos of clattering pots and frantic shouts. The shrill noise echoed through Marcus's mind, making the world blur and swirl. He pushed through the kitchen, the heat wrapping around them like a thick blanket, fear and adrenaline intertwining. But he felt it, the pulse of determination beating in his chest. Keep going. He yelled over the din, grabbing Emily's arm. The dishwasher was right beside them, urgency igniting every footfall. Their escape was fraught with danger, but they couldn't afford to falter. Every second counted. They darted past chefs scrambling to extinguish small fires and clear the smoke, each lost in their chaos. But Marcus's focus remained intact, fueled by a singular goal, to retrieve that file. They stumbled onto the dimly lit corridor leading to the back exit, a possible escape from the chef's wrath. Where's the file? Emily shouted, worry etching lines across her face. Back there. Marcus pointed, breathless, as they rounded a corner. We can't let him get his hands on it. Suddenly, a crash cut through the air, followed by an island of chaos forming in their wake. Tables toppled over as the chef barreled through with a wild determination, his eyes aflame with fury. You think you can run from me? He roared, the challenge echoing through the hall. Marcus's heart raced. They were so close, yet the danger loomed larger. He could feel every footfall behind him, the threat tangible, hot against his back. Get ready! He barked, adrenaline flooding every word. They reached the edge of the office door, flinging it open once more. Papers strewn everywhere told their own tale of the betrayal hidden within. Grab what you can! He shouted, as they rushed to collect the scattered documents, fingers shaking, urgency trickling into every movement. Just then, the chef's presence loomed at the door, fury etched into every sinew. You think throwing paper will save you? He sneered, taking a menacing step forward. We're not afraid of you. Marcus shot back, courage rising within him. That boldness surprised even him. The anger mirrored back in the chef's eyes hung thick in the air, igniting a fire of rebellion within Marcus. Enough! The chef blasted, but Marcus sensed the uncertainty creeping into the chef's demeanor. It was just a flicker, the tiniest crack, but Marcus recognized it. Listen. This isn't about you. Marcus raised his voice, urgency clashing with the chef's bravado. This is about more than just a recipe. Food connects us, it's the heart of a community, our stories intertwined. You've forgotten what brought you here, what served you in the beginning. The chef paused, an unfamiliar expression mingling with disbelief and anger. Emily stepped forward, rallying beside Marcus. People are discontent because you've stripped it all down to greed, ambition, and titles. The world doesn't need another arrogant chef, it needs connection. The chef faltered for a brief moment. People are willing to follow someone who believes in something, Marcus pressed, a fierce certainty anchoring him. Don't you see? We have that power. It was as if Marcus had flicked a switch. Uncertainty sparkled in the air, hanging like a fragile glass ornament. But just as quickly, the chef's rage boiled over again. You're meddling in things far too deep for you to understand. Maybe, Marcus shot back defiantly, clenching his fists. But we'll find our way to the truth. Together. Suddenly, the chef charged forward, and it felt as if time snapped into motion. In a wild scuffle, Marcus ducked, narrowly avoiding a swung fist, while Emily grabbed a handful of the scattered papers. We still have the file. She shouted, clutching it tightly against her chest. Then, like a ripple through water, the sous chefs rushed in from the kitchen. A band of friends and allies clad in aprons, individuals tired of the chef's grip. Tackle him. One shouted boldly, determination igniting a fire of solidarity. Soon, the chaos transformed as the underdogs met the chef head-on. Small skirmishes erupted, laughter mingling with the rising tension. Like a moment of sweet rebellion echoing through the air. Go. The dishwasher urged, motioning toward the side exit now spattered with chaos. It glimmered beyond the shadows, a path toward freedom. With one last supportive glance at his group, Marcus took a leap of faith, charging toward the light. Together with Emily and the dishwasher, they burst through the exit. Breathing in fresh air, Marcus felt the weight lift, a powerful step into the unknown outside. The street buzzed with the city's nightlife, the night alive with energy. For a moment, they stood still, gazing at the pulsing lights of Chicago. We need to expose him, Marcus said, breathless but excited. This isn't over. That file. We'll figure it out, Emily murmured, determination echoing back. We have a bigger fight ahead. And as they left the shadows of that kitchen behind, a sense of purpose wrapped around them like a warm embrace. No longer just a dishwasher, but a voice ready to challenge the culinary giants, a leader forging a new path. Just then, a round of applause erupted behind them from the growing crowd that had gathered outside the restaurant. The audience had witnessed the storm inside, their energy shifting with admiration. Marcus! Someone shouted, and the cheers grew louder, swelling into a tidal wave of unity. In that moment, he realized they weren't just fighting for recognition anymore. They were igniting an entire movement, transforming the fabric of a culinary world long dominated by elitism. And so, under the bright Chicago lights, together they vowed to champion change, to prove that kitchens belong to every soul willing to dream. As the cheers echoed through the night sky, Marcus knew this was just the beginning of something profound, a revolution born from those once silenced, not just a recipe, but a legacy waiting to unfold. Now, as you sit there, let out a cheer from your screen. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe right now so you don't miss the rest of this incredible journey. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what's next for Marcus and his crew. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this epic conclusion. Let's ignite this movement together. Thanks for being part of it.